Hello and welcome to the deepest dive on Super Mario 64. I would argue the best, most thorough discussion about Super Mario 64 on the internet. I'm Ben Hansen from MinnMax, and I'm joined by Ana Diaz.
Hello. Dan
Reichert.
Hello, Ben.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Now, Dan, I don't want to call you a simpleton right out of the gate. But you seem like the opposite of a deepest dive type of guy. You seem like the type of guy who's going to come on to the best, most thorough discussion about a game, and they're going to be like, it's fine, you jump in the pipe,
Well, that's the thing that I was worried about when you asked me to do this, is you said you were going to do like 8 hours on like the first 6 stars, and I was like, what do you jump on a thing, you get a turtle,
Oh, it's exactly my impersonation, yeah.
No, so I am curious to see. Look, I adore this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I played through it many, many times. So I'm curious to see how this goes. Because to me, it's the fun game where you jump on things and woohoo and do some flips.
Well, the way this works, Dan, is we have Patreon supporters, and if they support us at any tier, they can submit a comment on each chunk of Super Mario 64. So this is going to be 3 chunks, dividing it up into thirds. So everything this discussion is covering everything up through the first Bowser fight. So all of those rooms, all those areas, all those stars, if we want to talk about them, now's the time to do it. So people that have thoughts on that can support MinnMax and leave a comment for us to read on air. And if we get something wrong or we leave something out in this discussion, you can fix that by supporting us in any tier and leaving a comment in the future. But that's the format. And we should also note that we're joined by a mysterious fourth figure. Returning from the shadows, it is best friend Ronnie.
Oh, Roche.
No. You know him. You tolerated him from the Final Fantasy VII Deepest Dive.
Just barely.
He's back, everybody. Dan, do you have thoughts on Roche from Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I don't know who that is, and I played like 40 hours of that game.
Wait.
Is that the motorcycle guy?
Better go back.
You better believe it's the motorcycle guy, dude.
I remember wondering if he was in the original, because I didn't remember him from that. And I remember thinking the motorcycle fight was silly and fun.
That's right. Great. So thumbs up for Roche.
Yep. Sure, yeah.
Hell yeah, let's do it. But Ronnie, we're not talking about Final Fantasy VII right now. We're talking about Super Mario 64. And this is going to be a long discussion, no matter what Dan says. And so if you want to unlock the podcast version of this discussion, you can support us at the $5 tier. Also just support the format moving forward as well. Then you get access to the podcast version of this and a bunch of other exclusive podcast content over there in the exclusive podcast feed. Okay, Super Mario 64. We're breaking this thing up into chunks. This discussion is everything up through the first Bowser fight. Oh boy. Should we just start with, the old nostalgia train? Hoot. Ana, what's your history with Super Mario 64?
I never played Super Mario 64 on an N64. Well, actually, that's not true. I played it like little bits and pieces when I'd visit my grandparents. But then the first time I played the game in its entirety was on the DS version, which, I'm going to say it, even though it's not as pretty, is such a great version of the game. So, played it on there. And I think I played it on there like 5 times because it was one of the only DS games I had as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to focus too much on this, but were you alive when Mario 64 came out? What year were you born?
I was born in 95.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
So you were a 1-year-old little baby Mario when this game actually came out.
Yeah, Maria.
Love it.
Yeah. I'm actually, strangely, I'm old as sin. Old as a thwomp, this guy, I say. But
that's not thwomp's old?
I assume they're super old.
They're not wrinkly. They're just made of rock.
All rocks are old, Dan.
That's probably true.
What do you think?
I'm no scientist.
Dan, I know you're not a scientist, but what do you think the newest rock on Earth is?
You don't count ones that are broken off of older rocks?
No, you do.
No, you do. You do.
You do? Okay, well, I can go break a rock right now and it'd be the newest rock in the world.
And then sell it on eBay as the newest rock in the world.
Sounds like a source of revenue.
Put it on your Twitch stream. Dude, everyone's talking about this rock. The point is, I'm a little bit like you, Ana, where my history with Super Mario 64 is I would rent a 64 back in the day when I was 10 and play it, but I didn't understand there was progression in the game. I was a very, very stupid kid. This was before I had any other console or anything.
Yeah. And I think I've played the first level of that game probably 30 times because that's how I played the game. And I'm like, oh yeah, the canon boss is like the boss, like we beat him, let's pack it up, call it a day.
Yeah, oh good. I'm glad everyone was dumb when they first encountered this game. But yeah, I used to rent this thing, and then it wasn't until college that I played through the full thing on the DS as well. But my memories are very hazy, so a lot of this feels like I'm coming in fresh. So I feel like I'm at the bottom of the Mario knowledge heap here. Ronnie, we were starting to become best friends when this game was released, but what is your history with this big old game?
Well, I had this sort of same experience as you did, where like I would go to the local video store and have to rent the 64, which blew my mind, and then you get Super Mario 64 with it, and
this was the family video in Spicer, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Do you think we alternated weekends when we were renting this thing?
You were the other one. You were the other. And so, then the following Christmas, I got an N64, and it was the happiest day of my life. I'm still chasing that feeling. And, I played the hell out of it.
Because you were Mario super fan. I mean, I remember your mom made you a Mario 3 costume that you still wear to this day, I believe, little Tanuki suit.
Yeah. She makes me one every year now. I went in preschool. I was Tanuki suit Mario. I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah, egged just in a terrible fashion.
Everybody hated me. It was rough. But no, I played this game. It was like this and Final Fantasy VII, I feel like, were like the two games that I just would like bounce back and forth between playing them over and over and over again. So I have a lot of nostalgia for this game, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Dan, I cannot imagine how many times you played through this game.
Many, many times. You were there when we did the Guinness World Record thing where we set all these different records, and I picked Mario for my series, which meant I got to play anything with Mario in the title. And the first one I did was 120 stars in one sitting in Mario 64, which, by the way, that record stands. If you go to Guinness's website, 50 hours Mario Marathon.
Really?
Still there.
Wow.
I feel like half the people watching this have played Mario games for more than 50 hours straight. It seems very easy to break.
Try to get 2 witnesses and a Guinness representative to sit around for 50 hours. That's the hard part.
Fine print. Woo!
Yeah.
I was trying to think of this. What's the consensus here? Super Mario 64, top 3 for most important games of all time? Number 1? Number 5? Where are we at?
Important, like in terms of like industry changing?
Yeah.
I could see the argument for it being 1 or 2.
I think 1 or 2 is the wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was like, in my life, if I had to think of a full like sea change moment for the industry, and granted, I was 12 when it came out, but it's still, I grew up playing Mario games, and then the first time you saw that and, got hands on it, it was instantly like, oh, everything's changed. You can't go back now.
Yeah, I mean, you were pretty plugged in. Were you racing for this? I remember you were really looking forward to like stuff like Yoshi's Island. Were you just like counting on the days until this whole eye-opening experience came upon you?
Well, that was actually back when I would get mad when new consoles came out because I never had the money to get them. And, I could never like convince, for the most part, like my parents to spend $300 on a console. So I would be pissed because it's like, God damn it, I saved or I traded in all my NES stuff to get the Genesis. And now I got to trade in all my Genesis stuff to get a PlayStation.
Right.
And then a year later, this new one comes out and I don't want to trade in my PlayStation. So how do I get this money? I'm 12. And so I remember seeing an ad for Yoshi's Island that was in Nintendo Power or EGM or something, and it was a crying baby. It was playing off the Baby Mario thing, and it said like, oh, crying, whining, whatever, that's just the people that bought new consoles. And I remember seeing that ad and being like, yeah, get them. We don't need new consoles. Super Nintendo is still fine, So, I was like, I'll just have a Super Nintendo forever, and they'll just keep making the graphics better, and I don't have to buy a new console.
Don't
so
keep
basically,
making new chips.
So I got the PlayStation, and the 64 came out right afterwards, and I couldn't afford it. And I went to Target, and they had Mario 64 at a kiosk, and that's when I first got hands-on, and I was just like, this is just so much better, and I can't have it. But I dug in so deep on like how I didn't want it, and I became like anti-Nintendo 64. Because I remember, Hanson, you've probably heard this on like an old replay, but we did a debate class or a debate segment in the gifted class I had in junior high in 7th grade.
Let the record show Dan threw in the word gifted very quickly there. Just wanted to...
Well, that was the name of the class. It wasn't math class.
Just say school, you idiot.
Yeah, that's me, always trying to sound smart. So we were supposed to take something, a perspective, and then take an alternate perspective of someone else in the class. And my friend Ryan McFarlane had a 64, and he was always talking up Mario 64. And I was on the Crash Bandicoot train.
Hell yeah.
While secretly wanting Mario 64. But I desperately put together this argument that was like explaining why, listen, everyone's saying that Mario 64 is the first 3D game, but Crash Bandicoot, you can clearly see, I press up, I press down, left, right. That's 3D, folks. Crash Bandicoot, beat him to the punch. And then Ryan McFarlane got a whiteboard out and drew on it. He's like, this is the difference between the 64 and the PlayStation. Crash Bandicoot, if there's an enemy and there's a wall and Crash is on the other side, the PlayStation isn't powerful enough for the character to go around the wall and know that Crash is there. But a Goomba in Mario 64, because of the power of the Nintendo 64, the AI can cause the Goomba to go around and find Mario. Now, this is all complete bullshit. That's not true at all. He was 12 also, but I think he won the debate. But I think he won just because Mario 64 is the better game. But yeah. Eventually got it when GoldenEye came out, got Mario 64, and dove into it a million times.
We had the almost same debate in my remedial debate class, actually.
Yeah? How'd it go?
I don't know. I think it was actually just called Basic English as a class, but
for dummies.
And you just ended up drawing a Goomba on the chalkboard and hoping it's English?
That's the Goomba.
No, it's just the Mario Party minigame where you trace around it.
We had a lot of people submit comments, hundreds and hundreds of comments with people playing here at MinnMax. And this is time for my favorite game, Most Common Comment. What was the number one submitted comment, do you think? Thematically, vaguely tying together here. You know, I can't wait. It's that Goomba AI. Number one. Everyone was writing in about Goomba AI. Any guesses? Most common comment?
How you would rank the 3 games in the 3D All-Stars collection?
What the hell are you talking about? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I keep seeing that in my chat while I'm playing it.
No. Nobody submitted that comment.
How well it controls. How beautiful it feels.
I think up there is people amazed at the richness of the moveset, of the complexity of the moveset. That's up there. And then just above that is another comment.
Camera?
Yes, Anna.
Cameras? Yes.
Wow.
I knew it. I had it. Okay.
Yes,
All
everyone
right.
was just saying that camera sucks. And then below that, it was a lot of people saying that it was a lot harder than they were expecting. And then a lot of people writing in that it was scarier than they thought. And like it reminded them of being scared of this game as a kid.
Wow. Boo's Mansion, dude.
It's a nightmare in there. It's just the worst. So we talk about this being, one of the most influential games of all time, one of the most important games of all time. I was embarrassed on behalf of the game industry when I tried looking around for there's got to be a good history of Super Mario 64, article out there somewhere. We don't got much on the history of this great game. Like obviously the Giga Leak recently from Nintendo told us some things that, they were toying with putting Luigi in this game and that apparently they know that exactly Nintendo worked on this game for 622 days. But outside of that, it's like a couple quick anecdotes or chunks of Iwata asks that weren't about Super Mario 64, but Miyamoto makes some offhand reference. So it's just insane that we do not have a thorough chronicling of this important game. Am I missing something, Dan? Have you ever seen it?
I mean, I'm not really up on that stuff the way you are. In fact, this Giga League stuff that you're telling me about, I think I heard something about the Luigi thing, but I didn't know there was Mario 64 stuff in that.
Yeah, I mean, the Luigi's, built out in Super Mario 64 and stuff like that. So yeah, you should look into that Giga League if you're a Nintendo fan, Dan. There's a lot of crazy stuff in there.
I saw the Yoshi stuff from Mario World. That's how the different, looks of him. So.
Yeah, exactly. All that fun stuff. So, I mean, just for some beats here, I mean, there's an interview in Nintendo Power in 1995 where Miyamoto was talking about how he had the idea for a 3D Mario game when they were working on Star Fox. And, quote, I'd always wanted to do a game that recreated an entire world in miniature, like miniature trains. And that's what he originally wanted to do, which is a weird starting point for the game. But I guess it kind of goes through with Boo's level, where it's like that miniature little thing that you jump into. So I don't know if that's any way connected to that.
That's weird, too, because Breath of the Wild, wasn't there something about how the early concept stuff was miniature? Was Miyamoto hands-on with Breath of the Wild?
I don't think that much.
Okay, well, it's just the miniature thing. I remember hearing about that with Breath of the Wild as well.
I feel like that is a Nintendo theme in the N64 era, though, because you think about the intro to Smash Bros. Like, that's completely different studio, but like that's literally the whole thing. Is it's Master Ham playing with the figurines. So
right, yeah, everybody's just obsessed with miniatures. I remember like Gabe Newell was talking about experimenting with VR at Valve, and even he was like, "Oh, we got to make a tiny world." I guess that's natural for game designers to be into creating tiny worlds they can control. That's kind of the idea here.
They're called
Correlation with toys, right?
Yeah, I guess that's it, yeah. So here's the main anecdote we have about the development of Super Mario 64. Miyamoto says in this Nintendo Power interview from 1995, quote, Mr. Tezuka got an idea about putting his wife in the game. His wife is very quiet normally, but one day she exploded, maddened by all the time he spent at work. In the game, there is now a character who shrinks when Mario looks at it, but when Mario turns away, it will grow large and menacing. This is the image he got from his wife, and we thought it would be great in the game. And then Nintendo Power says, how does your wife feel about this? And Tezuka says, she knows.
She is aware.
She's aware that we turned her into a demon ghost in this game.
She hasn't said anything about it.
Can you
Please
imagine?
cut this from the article.
Thank you for understanding. I mean, this guy's probably, working 19-hour days, and his wife is like, maybe not so much. It's like, all right, nag, put her in the game. She's a ghost now.
It's so funny because like back in the day, like, demo discs and stuff and behind the scenes, clips of game development, it was always like this anecdote of like, isn't this wacky? He's got a sleeping bag underneath his desk because he never gets to go home.
Right.
And like nowadays it's, Jason Schreier putting on a fake mustache and pretending to be a house brother and sneaking into Rockstar to check their time cards, like it's the conversation around that has changed quite a bit.
Yeah. God, I forget if I talked to you about this, Dan, but last year while I was at Game Informer, we visited Yu Suzuki's studio for Shenmue 3 coverage, and his daughter was there who helps out in the office, and she was unbelievably nice, and she speaks pretty good English. Like, she worked at a karaoke bar in LA for years. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Did anybody know that you were Yu Suzuki's daughter? She's like, it literally never came up once. So that's fair. But I was talking to her about just what it was like, working with or living with Yu Suzuki and what he was like as a father growing up. And she's like, oh, we didn't see him. I was like, yeah, but like, what stuff would you do like on the weekends and stuff? And she goes, no, like, you don't understand. We literally did not see him. Like, he slept at the office. I did not know him my entire childhood because he would not leave Sega. Like, it is absurd. And on that note, it turns out that Super Mario 64 was developed by 10 to 15 people.
What?
Can you imagine?
Holy crap.
But are there like flagship franchise for a new system coming out?
Yeah.
10 to 15 people?
This is what Miyamoto said a while ago. Maybe the number fluctuated more. Maybe, it's not accounting for outsourcing to one guy. I don't know what it would have been back then. But
by comparison, what about like the big Super Nintendo games like A Link to the Past or Super Metroid
That's a
or
great
Super
question.
Mario World?
I don't know. We should know. Maybe people can leave a comment or something. But
I feel like you see pictures back then of like the development team, and it usually is like 12 to 15 people,
Yeah, waving at the camera or standing still like it's a picture from the 1800s. But I think like that small development team leads to a quirkier tone for this game. Like, that is one of the big takeaways that I have is for a game that's pioneering on such a technical level, there's so many little details in this game that just are unnecessary, but just lend a little bit of charm. Just these small little things, just like, when you're choosing, at the level select screen, just like that little, like, ba, 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 just having that little weird sound in there. It's like, that's unnecessary. It's so strange, but that all adds up, and it's just this weird, quirky game that is really memorable for so many people.
That's been the Nintendo thing for so long. It's just the tiny little touches and everything. Like, I can't imagine how many of those things in like Ocarina, like if a butterfly lands on the Deku stick or whatever, like there's so many of those things. Or, climbing a tree and doing a handstand and one up comes out. Like, this game is completely filled with that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think, is this like the beginning of Mario being this like extremely like happy, energetic, fun kind of guy? And before that, he was just kind of this blank.
He was a sociopath.
He was a sociopath,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was the Charles Martinet voice acting. I know there was technically like some Mario typing thing, or it was not the first Charles Martinet voice acting, but it's the first one everyone remembers. And I think that performance absolutely like solidified what Mario is to so many people.
Yeah. Tyler Lingbeek submitted a comment saying, what was your and the general reaction to Mario's new voice back in the day? Were you mad Mario wasn't a down and dirty plumber from the Bronx like in the movie?
Captain Lou Albano. No, it's.
I was pissed. Actually.
Return this.
Hans and I recently watched the video we made where Gilbert Gottfried does the Mario voice while he's jumping around. And it's still funny, by the way.
Yeah, you can find that on Game Informer's YouTube channel. That was the most surreal day
Don't
of my
plug
life.
Game Informer.
Oh, no, they're our friends.
That's the whole point of your site.
No, that's not true. How dare you? He doesn't speak for us. Yeah, it is funny. Like the voice clips in this game, there's a lot of them that are just like awkwardly cut. They're more jarring. I think we're just used to it now, a buttery smooth Charles Martinet. But in this era, especially combined with the editing tools that they have, there's just a lot of like abrupt transitions in the voice. Dan, what are you chuckling about?
Buttery smooth Charles Martinet. Is that fucking Al Green?
Not your Al Green.
He's the goofiest dude in the world. He's great.
He seems nice.
Yes.
Let's see. Somebody else wrote in about the voice too. Chris Logan wrote in saying Super Mario 64 is the game where most of us learn what Mario sounds like because there are so few lines. Every one of them has become iconic. But there's one that sticks out to me and makes me laugh every single time. When Mario crashes into a wall, he lets out a nice big "ugh." It's so guttural and un-Mario. It makes me wonder if it's even Charles Martinet.
This is coming out of his soul. The rest is him being performative. That one is just like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah,
you know?
that was from Charles when he says paycheck. Whoa.
Here's a fun fact on the voice acting is that Peach's voice actress is also localized the game.
Yeah, she's like working within Nintendo.
Yeah, and so like all those funny little like random chows, like that was her.
Wow. Well, that happened a weird amount back in the day because I feel like wasn't the localization for Resident Evil 2 the voice actress for Claire? And she was the one who named the Mega Man X5 enemies after Guns N' Roses because her boyfriend was into Guns N' Roses. Do you remember this?
Look at this. Anyone? Dan, Mr. Not interested in the behind the scenes. You have some factoids here.
I had to write news stories on occasion at Game Informer.
Well,
Fun fact, like Guns N' Roses.
That's true. I mean, and I think it is such a small team, and like localization had like a weirdly small amount of money put into it. Like I feel like throughout the 90s, like looking at Super Nintendo Entertainment System games, like you look at giant games with like localization teams of like 1 to 3 people.
And you hear those stories, again, of people localizing the old RPGs and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, I just locked myself in a closet for 4 months and managed to localize Final Fantasy VII.
You're like, why'd you put that in? It's like, I thought it would be fun. Nintendo didn't care. Like,
and that's probably why so many old games have the like infamous, poor translation, all erased belong to us, or welcome to die type stuff that you don't really see now.
Yeah. Bob Buell says, hey, fun fact, this is the last time they ever call Peach Princess Toadstool. That fungusy name is never mentioned again in Japan or the USA, starting with Mario Kart 64 and on. Yeah, this is the dividing line where it jumps back and forth. It's so weird. She's like trying to be like, my name is Princess Toadstool. You can call me Peach. It's unclear exactly what her name is at this point.
That threw me for a loop when Mario Kart 64 came out. Like you get to the character select screen, it's like, Peach, who the hell is Peach? That's Princess Toadstool.
Yeah, it is odd. The idea that the game opens and it has that note saying, you've reached Princess Toadstool's castle via a warp pipe. It's a weird note of like, why would I care how I got here? It's like, is this context necessary? There's like so many little beats in this chunk of the game that I didn't remember for just like little lore details, like just Lakitu being like, hey, reporting live. Like he's airing this somewhere, like this entire adventure. What's happening?
Yeah, not only is he reporting live, like he's got the insider scoop about what's going on with the missing stars before you even do. Like,
right.
It's just this weird moment, like, what's going on here?
A little
It's
suspicious.
like the Amazon Ring camera for the castle. Mario's approaching.
There's also the weird detail where I think it's at a sign, or maybe Lakitu says this, but the note, it's from the Toad, I think, where he says, quote, Bowser has stolen the castle stars and he's using their power to create his own world in the paintings and walls. So Bowser has like designed every level in this game? Is that the idea? He's created?
Bowser's a great game designer, okay? He doesn't get his due.
For some levels. Some of them I got some bones to pick with Mr.
we
Bowser.
will get into.
But that's like his ideal world, is these twisted paintings?
Well, I mean, isn't the implication in every Mario game that this is all like obstacles that Bowser has placed in Mario's path? Like every time I was playing through any of the old NES Marios or anything, I was just like, I'm trying to basically get to Bowser's castle, and these are all the fortresses he's put in my way, and his armies are here. Like, that's how I always viewed it. It's not like natural landscapes you're jumping across.
Wait, so do you think that like Bowser has placed every piranha plant and stuff in the old Marios? You'd be like, this'll get him. I thought it was just like a natural.
They were just sitting in fields. Yeah,
I think
that was Bowser's.
But
doing.
I also don't think that, like, are you saying that he was the architect of these worlds itself? Like he created the landscape as well as the enemies. Like
he had Koopa Troopas do it.
Yeah, he's not an idiot.
Oh, the Koopa Troopas. Okay.
Yeah, he's making it work. Hey, dumb question. Jumping into the paintings, what is that from? I was trying to find like just the source of media where somebody jumps into a painting. It seems like such a specific thing. It has to be an homage, and the best I can find is Mary Poppins, where they jump into the painting. Can you think of any other media, or is that just a weird Nintendo thing where they said, yeah, jumping into a painting, sure, that's a thing. But is it in like Alice in Wonderland or anything like that?
Not Alice in Wonderland, but I feel like you're right. Like there's got to be some other, like, I don't know, story or like. Yeah,
it's got to be some homage.
That Treehouse of Horror where they were in a Salvador Dali painting or something with the clocks.
I think that's probably the inspiration, yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
My name is Dan submits a comment saying, just like the irrational fear of quicksand, I had the fear of becoming trapped in mirrors/paintings when I was younger. Jumping into the paintings of Mario 64 used to creep me out. Also, the emptiness of the castle gave off an eerie aura. Is Super Mario 64 a horror game? A lot of people are freaked out by Super Mario 64.
Okay, can I say I don't understand that?
I don't either.
I found it like, as a kid, I like found it like strangely comforting, like being in that castle.
Yeah,
it's so music in the first level. Yeah.
Okay. Even like Big Boo's Haunt and everything. I feel like it's whimsical. There's like merry-go-rounds and, it's silly.
I mean, a merry-go-round of
a
pure
lot of
torture.
murder happens there. But,
absolutely.
I mean, every other place.
Honestly, I remember, I was 9 when this game came out. Technically, I probably played it when I was like 10 or something like that. Granted, I'm still scared of everything today, but jumping back into Big Boo's Haunt, I was weirded out again. It is such a weird vibe where, so much great uplifting music throughout the rest of this game. And then the music for Big Boo's Haunt is just a nightmare. And then you can...
That is scary, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Well, that part, I think, is like the uplifting part in a twisted sort of way, but just like the default music. Here, let's see. I can actually pull it up here. Like, this is Mario music?
That's terrifying. Turn that off.
I think that's from the clip in Event Horizon when you find out what happened to the original crew.
I'm sorry, I accidentally Googled Event Horizon OST. Seems like a mistake.
Well, also the way you get in there is you have to murder a ghost to get a cage out of him and then dive into the cage.
Oh boy. Okay, let's try.
Hey, hang on. What's up with that piano? I might jump the gun here a little bit, but the piano just freaking terrifies me.
Yeah, it's filled with jump scares. The books will scare you. The piano is terrifying.
The piano is aggressive.
Yes. Yeah. And the fact that they hide a coin behind that SOB, it's diabolical. They make you get right up close to him. Ugh. Yeah, Big Boo's Haunt, a bit much, a bit terrifying still today. And am I alone in not ever being excited about a ghost house in Mario games? Every time I come across a ghost house, it's like, this is going to be some puzzly thing that I don't understand.
I loved them in Mario World just because they were so different and they would have those weird puzzles that played off of like the P-switches and stuff where it's like, oh, so I'm going back through this area, but it's different. Or if I get a coin here and then I hit the P-switch, then there's going to be this hidden door here. It was tricky in a way that the other levels weren't. It was more straightforward outside. So I actually thought they were a good, way to break things up.
Yeah. Spelldragon wrote in about Big Boo's Haunt, and I didn't even know this was a thing, or I forgot about it, but he's playing 64DS on the Wii U. Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, legit?
Wait.
Yeah, they released it, so it's like a weird frame-in-frame thing, but in 2016 they released it on the Wii U. Anyways, Spelldragon says, I love Big Boo's Haunt, but the added star is literally the only one in this first chunk that I struggled on. Get Wario, run to the basement to break block, find Luigi hat, get invisible, mad dash to the basement, hit switch, jump through the fence before your ability runs out to grab the star. It took me a ton of tries. By the end, I was wondering if I was missing a better way to get the star. I need to get them all, though.
The DS version's so different, just hearing that sentence.
I know.
Like, it's wild. Like, even the beginning plot, like, you're Yoshi rescuing Mario for the first big boss battle.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. Joshua Caleb writes in and says, am I the only one who actually prefers the DS port of Mario 64?
No, you're not. I wrote about this.
Okay, but hang on. So Josh has a very specific note that I forgot about. It uses the shoulder button to auto swing the camera behind you, which that alone is like exactly what I've been craving while playing this. Like, just get the camera behind a stupid head.
Yeah.
If they had the option to play the DS version on 3D All-Stars, like the way they had the option to do Master Quest on, the different ways they put out Ocarina, I would probably love to try that because my memory of 64 DS is it was a launch game and it was one of the few like DS had kind of a rocky launch. There wasn't a ton of stuff out worth playing. I was like, yeah, I'll play Mario 64 with some new characters. But the best way I found to control it was that little attachment that went around your thumb with a little nub on it that you would use on the touchscreen to move. It basically replicated an analog stick because the idea of using a D-pad for moving around in Mario 64 was like heresy to me. Heresy? Heresy. But the nub, it was like, well, this is analog-ish. I can push it a little bit and he'll kind of walk. And like that was the closest thing to the Mario 64 experience I found. But it was such an awkward way to control.
Yeah, I just used my raw finger on that screen and it was not great on the.
Oh, so you did do touchscreen? You weren't doing D-pad?
Yeah, I did touchscreen. I'm no hero, please.
Yeah. Well, 64 DS on the 3DS is an incredible way to play Mario 64 because you have the circle pad. And so it gets rid of that issue.
Yeah. Oh, if you play it on the 3DS.
The 3DS, yep.
Oh, I don't think I've ever done that. Why did I never try that? That sounds great.
Yeah, it is. It's honestly great. Like, and you play as Yoshi or Luigi, and it feels very comfortable, like, to play.
Yeah.
There's a way I could do that on a TV screen with maybe a Elite Series 2 controller. I bet I could make that work.
Yeah,
that sounds like a good way to do it.
Although, Joe Halaska writes in and says, Mario doesn't turn on a dime like he used to with the N64 stick. This is talking about the Switch version here. Rather, he often walks in a small circle before changing directions, but not always. To verify this, I booted up my N64 and messed around with it, and it was in fact different. The game was clearly optimized for the original N64 controller, and it wasn't optimized for Switch controls. For the first few areas, it was a relatively minor thing, but I can see it getting annoying later. A lot of people are very specific with the controls of Mario and talking about how different it is from later games, Mario Galaxy, stuff like that. Francis Desnoyers writes in and says, one little thing I noticed from the gameplay only is that Mario's not able to 180 degree properly. Maybe it's for realism or just some dumb mechanic, but Mario always turns a bit to the side when you pull the L control stick opposite of his movement. On a narrow dead-end ledge and want to go back to the main part of the course, I'm lost. Why not just...
I know what he's trying to say, but like that's one of my favorite moves in this game, and I use it all the time, and I have not had an issue with that in the Switch.
Yeah, maybe you have Joy-Con drift.
I wonder if he's saying even in the original, like being able to do that 180, just like the quick turn is never really an option in Mario. It's always going to be that weird kind of clunky move. Hey, Ronnie, what was it like to jump back into Mario 64?
I loved it. Actually, the first thing that... The first thing that I noticed is I felt a little bit of input latency that just like drove me insane.
Really?
And then I realized that like on my television it was not in the right mode, and then it just all clicked, and it felt exactly what I remembered it feeling like. And my God, it's just to me, like, I think it's such a tight feeling game, and like there's so many things that like I remember, but there's also a bunch of things that I like forgot about, like the underwater world, like that whole thing. Oh my gosh, I really like that world, probably just because of the music and the terrifying eel. But like that whole stage again was this like I felt like I was lost there for the first time.
It's funny because that was one that really struck me for being so small. That I jumped in and I was like, oh, this is such a small little level. Tiny. Yeah, but I guess I can understand that idea of just jumping back into that mysterious world. And that level is so weird too, because it has like the layer of fog on top of the water where the water is kind of like mirrored with the fog. It's a weird design.
But also it seems small now, but like there was nothing to compare it to back then. So it was all so free and open, you know?
Yeah. Right. Let's see. Somebody wrote in about Jordan Schaefer says, I think the biggest thing that has stood out to me is just how small these levels are. I remember as a kid getting lost in them, but now they seem like neat little dioramas rather than worlds.
That's a great word for them. I feel like it's, little diorama. And that's like, even like the snow level, I remember feeling like that was one thing where I felt like I would constantly get lost in that snow world. And then now it's just like, oh no, it's just vertical. That's pretty much it.
But
Yeah.
they make such good use of space. Like, think about that world, the snow world, where it's like you've got, the vertical thing there on the surface, but then you've got the whole slide down there with the penguin, which has like that branching path, the secret exit, all that stuff. You got the whole slide on the outside to go around. You got these shortcuts you can jump over. You got the warping bridges. Like there's that secret place where if you jump off the spinny thing, you can go around the whole area and find that secret stuff. Like, it looks
That
like
took me forever to find. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just looked at like a model of it and rotated around it would look very small, but they like cram things into every nook and cranny there.
Yeah. Should we start at the beginning here?
Sure.
Jake Twitchin writes in, just says, Mario's face. I absolutely love this title screen. The MinnMax community in the Discord shared some of their insane creations. The secrets held within this little menu are fascinating to me. So many little details you'd only be able to learn from a friend on the playground or from a Nintendo Power magazine. I went literal years before I learned I could hold R and freeze my work.
Right.
I did not know that was a thing until I read that comment.
I didn't know it was a thing until
That's
we
crazy.
did some replay at Game Informer, and Tim did it when we started it up, and I was like, what is this voodoo that you're doing? Like, how are you able to hold it? And in fact, when I started playing this version, I think I texted Tim or something. I was like, how do you do this? Or I asked my chat, and they're like, oh yeah, hold R. I never once did that back in the day.
It's so crazy. I feel like that face sums up so much of Nintendo, and kind of what we talked about already. It's just like, it is the perfect fusion of technical powerhouse at the time, and then just like the most, no pun intended, just like in your face example of like, here, play with this technology and we'll put the Mario theme underneath it. It's just like the most, I don't know. It's just as vanilla as it gets for like, here's a charming way to use technology and go. It's just obvious in a way that I don't think many other companies would think of, you know?
It's goofy, and I probably spent, as a kid, 6 hours on that screen.
Yeah, well, I remember you wore out your TV from those kiss marks, which I thought was very inappropriate.
It was 2 TVs.
Well, it's those little touches that, like, most games would just breeze past the title screen. But look at even like Mario Paint, which is just kind of a silly little gimmick game. I played the hell out of it. I loved it. But like most games would just be like, Mario Paint, now let's go to the meat of it. But Mario Paint, I spent so much time being like, oh my God, every letter that you click does something different. And if I spawn this guy that runs underneath the logo and I click the A at the right time, I can knock the guy down. Like, that's just the title screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absurd. Dylan Greenfield writes in and asked, for returning players, how much of this game is essentially muscle memory? Are you on autopilot while you're collecting the stars? And Peter Gallagher writes in, he says, start the game, I went to Bob on Battlefield, got every star, up until the one that requires the wing cap. I immediately got the star from the Princess Secret Slide, after which I went to Cool Cool Mountain, got the slip sliding away star. I thought it was so interesting that I subconsciously took the exact same route that I took when I was a kid without thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I took it like an exact same route, but every star, I just kind of went like, oh yeah, no, I remember this, like just over and over and over again. The one star, like I didn't go downstairs. I didn't go to the basement floor. So I did everything that I possibly could in the main floor.
Yeah.
But I think that there's at least one star where you need the vanish cap.
And there's the metal cap stuff. There's the metal cap one in Jolly Roger Bay.
You're right, and metal cap. So I didn't do those. So yeah, that's all I have left in the main floor.
You guys know the game so much better than I do. I should only have the wing cap unlocked at this point, right? I haven't missed anything?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
I only have the wing cap too, yeah.
Okay. What triggers that? What triggers the wing cap beam coming down for giving you
10
that
stars.
option? What is it?
10 stars. I think after 10 stars, you'll notice that little beam coming down.
Is that also like roughly the window when then like the ghost comes around? Because I went to that backyard area.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, the ghosts aren't here yet. I don't know what triggers that. And so I went back today. And it's like, okay, now they're back here. Something has flipped here.
Right. I love that you can go there. Like obviously you're going to explore that and you'd be like, oh, there's nothing there. And then like the game's just like now you look down there and there's a ghost that you can chase down there. And just like, I love that.
Yeah, directly leading you back there. Yeah. Tyler Sticka writes in and says, as a kid, I remember aimlessly exploring this game a lot, partially for fun, but partially just because I was a completely hopelessly lost kid. I'd never figured out what hints like blast away the wall or wall kicks will work meant without a strategy guide back then.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of those moments of just like, what does this mean? Like, let the eel come out and play. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing here? How do I interact with this stupid eel? And it turns out, you just have to swim like a foot in front of its face. That's the secret. It's like, that's a little tricky.
Swim by it, yeah.
Swim by
Blast
it.
away the wall is probably the trickiest one to figure out. Because like you would assume, it's the cannon, and there's only so many walls there. But like the idea of like shooting at this one particular corner of the wall.
Yeah, you're totally right.
I didn't even get that one. Even, in Womp's Fortress there, even shooting to the wild blue was confusing for me because it's like, it's not really the wild blue. It's just like this pillory area on the left side of the structure. It's like, that's the opposite of the wild blue. But that's where the
Is that the one with the star in the cage? Is that one?
It's the one where it's on the bottom of the pole. Yeah, so you get to that thing and then slide down.
The other one, I always use the owl for the other one where you have to jump on platforms. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, and even with that one, I think when I played through this when I was younger, like I messed around so much in these worlds that like I found that star, but then I saw the sign and I'm like, what does this mean? Like I still haven't found that star yet when like I had.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, the out of order stuff because somebody mentioned that you can get like the wing cap star in Bob on Battlefield without actually getting the wing cap here. So Jordan Kirk writes in, it never occurred to me in any prior playthroughs that I could finish the Bob on Battlefield Mario Wings to the Sky without actually having the wing cap. Like you can just take cannons up to that area, right?
Well, you just have to get the center coin, of all those rings.
And it even like it's 5 of them, and it lets you know, like it'll give a little, ding noise and all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
I don't think you couldn't do it in like one shot, but I mean, there's no time limit.
Right. Dan, what have you thought about going back to this game and actually playing it?
It's great. It's been weird, particularly for me, because I've been trying to like get caught up for this because I knew what we were supposed to cover here. And like the way I'm doing it, I'm only playing it on stream, and I'm doing this gimmick called Mario Go Round, where I do 3 stars in 64. Then I go back out and I do 3 stars in Sunshine or Shines, sorry, and then I do 3 in Galaxy. So as I've been trying to catch up for this, I literally have to do 3 times as many stars just to get caught up because I'm not playing outside of my stream. So so I've been playing a lot. I've had to get like 50 or 60 stars just to get to where we are here instead of getting 20. Yeah.
What do you think about the way it controls, moves, camera, all that fun stuff?
You asked earlier about muscle memory, and honestly, I think that is it. I think a lot of people will come to 3D All-Stars as folks that played it back in the day and haven't really played it since then, and then it's going to be that like overwhelming rush of nostalgia and everything. But I think just due to the nature of like what we've done for a living and everything, I have played Mario 64 so many times since it came out, and so I never really felt like I lost that. And so it's not nostalgia as much as just like, this is how Mario 64 feels,
Right, right.
Yeah, I think it looks sharper. The 3D All-Stars thing, actually, I saw all the like negative press and opinions on it when it was coming out. And so I was like kind of bracing for the worst. But maybe that helped because once I started playing them, I was like, this actually looks better than I expected it to,
Right.
Like it's sharper. The resolution went a long ways, and like obviously I would prefer if it was a full remake, remaster, like in Mario Galaxy when they had that one world where you go to Womp's Fortress. And it's like,
so good.
Oh my God, it's like this amazing looking Mario 64.
Throwback
That's
Galaxy,
what I wanted. But that said, this still looks better than I expected.
I think it looks fine. I think, visually, I think it's charming. Let's see. Somebody actually wrote in about that. Joshua Lehman just asking, how do we feel about the graphics? Personally, I still love them the same way I still love Metal Gear Solid 1's graphics. I think that's a good comparison where it's like, it has a charm in its limitations. I think I still like looking at it. But that said, jumping into this version, I actually got angry just trying to control that camera for the first time. Like, what do you mean I can't keep rotating? What do you mean there's no just immediate move behind the head? It's just, constantly shrieking at me. I just wanted free control of that camera. I feel like just that addition would have made this so much more fun.
And the camera too, because it's like canonically in the world, it's Locky 2, right? Yeah. You can't go through walls because Locky 2 is like an actual, and that's another thing that I'm like, oh my gosh, like just let me put it behind, like
it would break canon on it just that makes no sense.
Well, at least Mario 64 has a canonical excuse because playing through Sunshine again, sometimes the camera gets rough and I can't blame Lakitu.
So there's not even a hint of Lakitu in Sunshine?
No, it's just a camera.
Not even a hint.
But you can control it and it's full motion camera.
Yeah. Ronnie Barrier, is this your alt, Ronnie?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Ronnie writes in and says, I want to talk about Lakitu being your actual camera. Seeing as this was Nintendo's first foray into 3D space like this, do you think this was a cute character choice, or did people really need an in-game reason for a 3D camera? My dumb brain was only 5 years old when this game came out, so I honestly can't remember my response to this revelation.
No, I love that Lakitu in this game turned from like the guy. Well, actually, I guess the first Mario Kart was the first one where it's like, oh, Lakitu is like the crew guy.
Right.
Who's basically like holding something on his fishing pole. Because he was just like this dick in the old games where he's like, I'm just going to throw enemies at you. But in Mario Kart, it's like, no, I'm here to help out with the race. I've got the stop sign and everything. So I guess that was the first time. I was about to give 64 credit. But I like Lakitu playing that role of like a crew guy.
Yeah, he just needs work. Roel writes in and says, first time playing this, and I'm really surprised by the depth of Mario's moveset. With the game being pretty much the first 3D platformer done right, my expectation was that there would just be a simple jump and a kick, but they really went all out. I had no idea they'd have so many of the advanced moves in Super Mario Odyssey, like the long jump, triple jump, and backward somersault, and that they've actually been there the entire time. IanTClark also says, the first time I beat Mario 64, I don't think I was fluent in even half of Mario's full moveset. I think that's a testament to the game's design. It's tuned to be fun for people who only know how to jump and punch, yet it's also built to be this amazingly rewarding sandbox for those who do unlock the full power of Mario's stylish parkour action abilities.
That blew my mind like within the last year because we were doing a thing at Giant Bomb, and for a second we played Mario 64 on there, and Mike Mahardy took the controller and he did this move I had never seen Mario do in all my time playing this, and I was like, wait, what the hell was that? What did you just do? He's like, oh, it's the ZB move. I was like, what? And it's like, instead of doing the long jump, instead of ZA, you do ZB, and he does this weird like scissor kick thing, and I was like, I've never seen that in my entire life. Like, what the hell is that? It's the same feeling I had when, like, the first Mario Brothers, the A plus start thing that takes you back to the world you died on. Like,
right.
How did this is one of my favorite games of all time. How did I not know this was in here?
Yeah, when they just pack so many secrets into these games. Yeah, Peter Fontana points out that if you hit the minus button on this, they actually show you all the moves you can do for all 3 games in 3D All-Stars, like a fighting game move list or something, so you can make sure you're not missing anything.
The Hadouken's great.
It's really fantastic. King Prometheus notes that the triple jump is harder to hit than I remember. I had that too. I've had plenty of situations of like, ready to take off with the wing cap. 1, a two-hoo! Just completely whiff it over and over again. BBK says, I have absolutely no nostalgia for this game. And oh man, that camera. I just don't find Mario to control great at all in general. And of course, none of this matters because Mario can crawl like a baby in this game. So it's all cool.
True.
I used to do a thing every time. So growing up, my sister was 8 years younger than me. And so she was like a kid when this game came out. And I would always do this thing. I have great memories of this every time I beat Bowser because the key comes out and the key is just kind of floating there. And in that spot, all the other sound pretty much drops out. And so what I would do then is I would turn my TV up as loud as it could possibly go. And my sister Kayla would just sit there just like, super like ready to freak out. And I would make Mario crawl. I would push the analog stick as just the tiniest little increment. And when he would like touch his little like mitten down, you would hear like a little echoey. And then when you hit the key and it does the big fanfare, it would just be ear shattering and just scare the hell out of my sister. We did that every single time.
That sounds really fun.
It was great.
It's a very Miyamoto move. Let's just have fun with the volume on our TV. That's a game.
Okay, wait a second. I also did something slightly reminiscent.
Not interested.
Like,
go ahead.
I'm just gonna turn it off. No, but it's just kind of like a funny thing where it was the same thing where you kind of play around with sound effects because all the other sound drops off, like you said, and you just like you can hear how his footsteps they sound really like echoey and sometimes like kind of sticky, and so we just like play around with like the sound effects. It was really cool. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's like when you see something on Reddit where it's like, here's this Van Halen song where you just hear the vocals of David Lee Roth and he just sounds weird as hell.
Just a lot of weird breathing. Yeah.
Well, playing as a kid too, I think that was the first game I ever played where I saw like the character fall asleep. And I was like, oh, if you leave him sit for a while, like, doesn't matter what's going on, like, he will fall asleep.
Talk about spaghetti.
Does he really? I haven't heard that yet.
Really?
I haven't let it sit.
Doesn't he say Mamma Mia? Dude?
Oh, but before the next podcast of this, you got to just let him sleep and let it go for a long time because he's literally asleep. It's like, spaghetti.
And he still does that, like in Odyssey.
Yeah.
He still likes spaghetti. On the Italian front, Bears, well, Boswell. Barrett Boswell, that's Boswell, writes in and says, is this the only Mario game that kind of acknowledges Mario's Italian heritage by having him on one of the first texts of the screen?
Mario's not Italian, he's Japanese.
That's right. Yeah, the programmer for the NES made it very clear that Mario's Japanese, not Italian. So, but yeah, he says "ciao," I guess was the thing. It's always in there, just in a very confusing way. You know, it doesn't have to make no sense.
The Super Show did more of that. There was way more talk of like lasagna and spaghetti and stuff like that, but not canon.
Right. Joshua Wilginen writes in and says, "Best in the biz game design genius Shigeru Miyamoto decided to make the quote read sign button the same as the jump button. Jesus Christ," he says.
Okay, a little thing about this that has annoyed me a lot is that the A button doesn't pop up when you can interact with something. And so like you're just like, oh, okay, so I'm just gonna keep pressing A and standing in different spots until I can talk to this person.
And I don't like, am I missing out? Can I not talk to this friendly bomb right now?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no,
hang on. I think you can also do it with B, the punch button.
Yeah, I've been doing that.
So just punch him in circles for a while.
Oh, no, I haven't thought that it was weird that it's the punch thing, because I'll go to like talk to a toad and I'll press punch and it's like talk to him.
That's rude.
This is, I know this is a different game, but since I've been playing all three of them.
Yeah.
The Sunshine one, oh my god, like I'm fine with the ports, I'm fine with the 3D All-Star stuff, but the one time where I was like, all right, come on, Nintendo, was in Sunshine, where when Flood is talking to you at the beginning. And it's explaining like, oh, to spray, press and it says on the screen ZL button. But because it was a different button on the GameCube, they just do this really hasty edit where it's just like, oh yeah, to spray, press the button. And then
just have somebody from the localization team in the treehouse just, I don't know, just say the word button into a mic.
Couldn't get a read of Flood saying B.
It costs a fortune. Empiric Unicorn writes in talking about that too. Mario's mobility in 3D games has gotten a lot tighter in later entries. Getting Mario centered in front of a sign feels like parallel parking a Cadillac, and trying to pick up stuff is like grabbing a Teflon covered balloon. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of flailing, grabbing, trying to get things. Even like, the turtle shell and stuff. There's so many little things that just have to go for again and again and again.
The thing I always struggled with was getting, picking up King Babam. Because I never quite understood the trick. It's like you can kind of do the weird backflip thing over him to get behind him, but there's so many times I'll just be running in circles around him. Like, do I just keep going? Do I need to change direction?
Wait, also is it Babam or is it Bomb?
It's Bob. I think the pun is like his name is Bob, but he's also a bomb, so it's like Bob Yeah, it's great. It's very clever.
Yeah, it's Bob
Bob. Yeah, of course. So Spencer Botine, White Mex, and Sean Jeezy Do It Easy all wrote in with the same theme, which Sean wraps up here by just saying, "Holy hell, it is hard." A lot of people are shocked that they're getting their butt kicked in this section. How's everybody doing? I'm terrible at games, so naturally I'm having a tough time with it, but is everybody else dying a lot?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I am, sorry.
Oh, thank you, Anna. Thank you.
I meant to, yeah. The ice slide is way harder than I remember. I thought I could do that on muscle memory, and I thought I could beat the penguin on muscle memory. But I got game over, and then, with this game over system, you get kicked back.
Oh, it sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, bringing you back to the castle. I was like, all right, let's run through the entire thing here.
Did you guys all get the 2 stars on the princess slide?
No.
Yes. It's like 20. What is it? Is it
21
seconds?
I think it's 21.
21 seconds? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like that little secret area there. Let's see. Somebody wrote in about that. Tim Holt says, I love the idea of having secret stars in addition to the main paintings. I just went into the room with the peach stained glass window. The game teaches you to explore all the spaces in the castle and rewards you with the fun sliding level. Yeah, that is, there's a lot of things in this game that are a little bit frustrating going back to, but it does do a pretty good job of teaching you the systems and just hinting about what's going on. I think this is a great example of just a pretty subtle way of just letting you know there's going to be a lot of secrets in this game. Keep poking around.
Yeah, and just because when it came out, I think it was one of the last games that I played without like the internet kind of coloring my discovery of it. Because it came out in like September '96, and I don't think I had the internet then. I don't think so. And so most of that stuff, like if you jump into this stained glass painting or whatever, I just heard the old way of like, you're at recess or something, and your friend tells you about it. Yeah. Like, oh my god, I got to try that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, and even playing in middle school with the internet, like DS version, it was still like that feeling of discovery of jumping into like the glass window. I feel like for me, that was sort of like the Mario 64 at its finest. You're like, whoa, like this is like a live interactive world, and I can interact with it in different ways other than just like using it as a way to get to the paintings, you know?
Yeah. It's more than just a collection of levels, which I feel like, you know, as much as I love games like 3D Land in particular, it just feels like there's no sense of place. And it's something I really miss from this or Sunshine, even to some extent Galaxy. Like, I'm not really connected to the face ship or the hub from Galaxy 1 or 2. And this one has such a unique vibe for the central area here that's kind of rare in platformers.
Yeah. But I also think just moving from point A to point B, no matter where you are, hub world, whatever level you're in, is so much fun because of all the different moves and everything Mario can do. And honestly, I think the pinnacle of that is Sunshine. I know we're not talking about Sunshine here, but like that's why I love that game, is because I think that is the pinnacle of like 3D Mario being able to move around and having a variety of moves that all work out really well.
I agree. Yeah, I would take the Flood in every Mario game if I could.
Yes, please.
Yeah, in Nawada asks here, Miyamoto, he talks about how he didn't. Oh, you just want this full Miyamoto anecdote? Let me hear ya. Do you want the anecdote?
Sorry, I yelled so loud my mic shorted out.
Miyamoto says, when I was working on Super Mario 64, I realized halfway through that it was getting boring. I was like, wait a minute. So I went around and asked everyone, this game was really fun in the beginning, but now it doesn't feel fun anymore, does it? And just as I'd expected, they all said, we agree. I'm sure they're just trying to kiss me on my ass. And then he says, well, it was something really simple with Mario's movement. In the beginning, we had Mario turning really slowly so that it was really overemphasized, but at some point he started turning really quickly. He kind of zipped around. So then we changed it so that he went back to turning really slowly. And well, I'm not sure if that was the right change to make, but it was really important to me because Super Mario 64 was a project that started from that turning movement. I love that idea. Like, that is the genesis of the entire game, is just the movement, the turning specifically.
And I think that right there is why, like, I love Mario 64, and I just like a Red Dead Redemption 2. Is like I'm moving around in like a 3D world. I want it to feel like a Mario, fun, snappy, moving around. I don't want that slow, cumbersome moving.
Yeah.
Right.
Ronnie, we were just talking earlier today, and you were working on your Arthur Morgan saying a line about from Mario, weren't you? Like a Charles Martinet line?
I can't. Not yet.
Ronnie,
next,
come on.
Hey.
Don't be a jerk.
Week, yeah. Honestly, I'll do it. I've been working, probably have like 4 hours in it so far. So.
Okay. Anna, I've been meaning to ask you, what does it sound like when Arthur Morgan does a Mario line?
I don't know.
You know what, Dan? You saying that reminds me.
Feels like a trap.
Dan, it reminds me. What does it sound like when Arthur Morgan is in the Mushroom Kingdom?
I don't remember what he sounds like.
Great. That's satisfying. Okay.
Hey, we got an improv show coming up.
I were not the guest you were looking for.
Hang on.
Yeah. Did you?
You and I were practicing that initially. Like, what was your impression? I can't remember. I couldn't remember. What did it sound like?
I think it'd go a little something like this. Oh, hell, wahoo.
That was it. That was it.
That's right. Tickets, $7 at the improv show. Socially distanced. Come on down.
Hell, wahoo.
It's the laziest mashup. Nicholas Morano writes in and asks, what's the first thing? What's the first thing you do after the start screen and when you're free to control Mario? I always do a triple jump into the dive. Is that the go-to?
Yeah. I think instantly I get a little bit of speed and then I do a triple jump.
Okay. Brian W.
I always do a long jump.
Yeah, I like a long jump too. It feels like cheating. Like the Koopa, the quick race with that long jump. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Ooh, so good. Brian W. asks, how do you jump into the paintings? I find myself usually doing a jump and a dive. The big exception is that snow portrait. Timing a long jump from that little platform before the steps and making it into the painting is so good.
Ooh. One thing that I love doing is if I go into a level, get the star, and then when it ejects you out, you can hold Z and do his backflip back into the painting.
Yeah, Brian Parodies is exactly with you there, Ronnie.
My favorite method of entry is doing a triple jump, jumping above the painting, missing the painting, sliding down the wall, and then jumping in.
It's my second favorite way to.
Mike Poe writes in, says, because they fade out the further you are from them, as a kid, I thought the toads scattered throughout the castle were ghosts and that Bowser had killed them all when he stormed the castle. As an adult...
Well, Sorry.
As an adult, I think now it's probably just some system limitation with the N64, but who can say, really?
Well,
Definitely a system limitation.
I feel like, wasn't there one of the toads actually says, like, my friends are stuck in the walls?
Yeah.
And like, that was something that always creeped me out. Like, they're in the freaking
They're in the walls!
Right. What's the deal with the pink bombs? Like, how does the bomb society work? Where it's like some of them are enemies and some of them are like, hey, dude, yeah, I'll totally give you a cannon.
I don't trust them. I think they're only friendly for so long. Those pinkos are going to turn on you so fast.
True.
Steister, the old Steister's back again. He writes in, he says, when we were kids, my brothers and I always died laughing at, quote, reacting to the star power, the door slowly opens, which it says whenever you open a door, followed by Mario quickly and normally opening the door. What a mood killer. That's good. That's some good open. Childhood comedy. Yeah. Tim Holt says, reappearing in the front lobby and seeing the sun shining, I remember discovering the sun level in the original game, and it blew my mind. I don't think I realized that was a thing until maybe like the third time I rented this game, because it was just like, I was working off an end game save, so I was just running around exploring every level a little bit, staying away from the Boo level because it was too terrifying. But that was mind-blowing, finding out that was a thing. And it's still so satisfying. Although Braden Summers writes in and says, the wing cap, 8 red coins, will be the end of me. I couldn't do it then, and I can't do it now. That
it's
sucks.
Annoying because it's timed out where it's like if you miss it on the first pass,
yes,
it's like, well, I might as well I'm just going to butt stomp into oblivion, because it's like if you loop around, you're going to die at the end.
Yeah, that was my hardest star for this entire section. I don't know where you are at with that, but
I think it even were too bad this time, but I probably died a couple times on that.
Yeah. And Ronnie, you're just infallible?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thomas writes in and says, Bob on Battlefield is a perfect intro. There's not much going on, but you know to go up the mountain. The fortress is the same way. Cool mountain teaches you to explore it and go down. That's a good point. Just the simplicity of the design of Bob on Battlefield is, hey, you should probably go up to the top. Where else are you going to go here? Climb the mountain.
Right.
It's a journey, right?
Yeah. I always find it like a little bit sad. Like I always wanted to just throw him off the edge. Like I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. And he's just like, hey, that's cheating. Don't do that.
Yeah. Like, we're not sumo wrestling. There's not rules. I'm trying to kill you.
I guess I don't know. MacDac writes in, he says, I noticed when defeating King Bob-omb that he mentions picking up Bowser's tail to fight him. I never realized as a kid that he's a subtle hint on how to defeat Bowser.
Oh, wow.
And then there's the sign in front of Bowser.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I guess
it's
they do
just like, hey, here's how you do it.
Please don't
Try
forget.
his tail. Press Y.
Somebody wrote in, believe it or not, about that type of thing. BeatenDownBrian says there's 100% more signs in the game than I can remember. Did I just ignore them all as a kid? Did you read them? Do you read them now? Do we all just collectively run past them?
I read them now, but I don't think I read them at all.
I don't think I read them.
But that was a thing. Like it wasn't introduced in this one. Like in the Super Nintendo, I think Mario World and Yoshi's Island might have had the speaker boxes. Remember those things where you hit them and it's like, "Hey, welcome to Dinosaur Island" or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like once you've seen that once and you played it a million times since then, it's like, well, you're not hitting those because it's teaching you like, here's how to make an egg in Yoshi's Island.
Right. Aiden points out that the font used for dialogue and signs is awful. I can imagine it looking better on a CRT, but it all has bad kerning and strange letter forms that stand out in 720p. This could be a situation like Comic Sans where it's designed to work best on low-res displays, but it's simply not a good font when displayed clearly. Yeah, the drop shadow on those things is just a mess. But there's some charm to the ugly pixelated signs, I think. Okay, Bob on Battlefield. Bob Beal has a killer question. Why do the cannons have question marks on the sides? It's something that's driven me nuts since I was a kid.
Probably has something to do with the fact that just those blocks had question marks, in the older games. Like that was just a thing that signified like, this is an important thing. Hit this, you might get a mushroom.
Yeah. The most important thing is a question, Bob. Look alive, man. It wasn't until this playthrough that I noticed like, there's so much barbed wire in Bob on Battlefield, which I guess it really leans into like the Battlefield aspect of this thing, but like all the fences on the edge of that level are just like this janky looking barbed wire. It's just like World War I out there. This is a brutal battlefield.
Well, but if you look at what they're like, there's one point where the pink Bob-omb just says like, those other guys, they just love fighting. And then you look at like what they're shooting at the pink ones, they're just water balloons. They're just having a good time.
Wait, so who is shooting the water balloons? Like, you can't see where they're coming from, right?
There are people up top
Oh no.
that are shooting those water things. I forget exactly who they are, but yeah, I thought, am I nuts? There's like a cannon that's shooting the water.
There is a cannon as you go up the bomb thing, but I don't think I ever noticed that it was shooting stuff because it's already up. It's not like you jump into it.
I want to
and it
go
goes
check
up.
like right now.
Yeah,
I think it's
it
up.
is.
I just don't think I ever put that together.
Do you think the water droplets are a reference to like Prisoner? It's like having those huge water balls chase after you.
What?
Yes.
The old
Prisoner?
Yes.
Yeah, Dan. Remember in The Simpsons when Marge joins the cult?
Yeah.
And then she's trying to run away in the end, and that huge water thing chases after, and then like gets Hans Moleman, and he's like, "Ah!"
Oh, is that a book or something?
No, it's an old 70s TV show that they remade, and nobody talks about it. Probably not, though.
Until now.
Speaking of homage here, do you think that just that first level of running up the mountain and having the balls rolling down that you dodge, do you think that's like a Donkey Kong reference? Or is that just standard Mario jumping over rolling things and trying to dodge them?
Just got to jump over something.
Great. Welcome to our new show. It's called Is This a Reference? And the answer is always no.
Is this a thing?
Nick Olson
No,
writes
Prisoners
in.
was a reference, but okay.
Asking, when I raced Koopa the Quick, I thought I was so clever and I used a cannon to blast my way to the top of the mountain. Upon doing so, Koopa responds with, "Hey, don't try to scam me. You've got to run the whole course. Later, look me up when you want to race for real. Never before or since has my integrity as a gamer been questioned in such a real way."
I forget. Can you do the warp? Can you do
can.
the?
You can
can't
do
do
the
that.
warp.
Oh, you can. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I always skip it because I feel like I thought that was a cheating thing.
No. Also, can I say Koopa's character model is ginormous?
Yeah.
Why is
Yeah,
Koopa
I-
like 3 times the size of Mario?
I didn't remember that part. Like,
Yeah.
It's like at the end of Sunshine where the hot tub fight with Bowser, and it's like, why is he 70 feet tall all of a sudden? He was slightly taller than Mario before.
Yeah. Fred DeNova writes in and says, I've been called a fake-ass gamer boy before, but I've never felt more fake just now realizing that you can teleport between 2 gardens in Bob on Battlefield. I happened to stop while on top of one and was shocked when I was teleported across the level. Y'all know about this? And then Ryan writes in as well, saying, I've been playing the game for the first time with my girlfriend, watching and pointing out a lot of things that are not obvious, such as the portals. When I asked her how she knew about the portals, she shrugged. There's no signifiers that let you know there's a portal, just like the one in the Blizzard Mountain. How do people figure this stuff out? I don't know about these portals. Where are these portals?
Well, aren't the flower ones the ones that have the coins around them?
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
I do think that there are some signs out there that says something like in the Fortress level. I want to say there's a sign that says something about the flower.
Well, I don't have time to read hundreds of signs with terrible fonts, Ronnie. I got a game to play.
Ooh, by the way, speaking of the Fortress level, so they did that PC port of Mario 64. And so I did the thing where it's like the super render 3D, like it looks incredibly good, 16 by 9. There is something super weird about like going to Womp's Fortress and you get up to the top and like instead of just like flat JPEG face on Womp, like the teeth are rendered 3D things and they're like jutting out of him.
That sounds amazing.
God.
It's interesting to see, but it is like unnerving.
He's more terrifying and hideous than I recall. I mean, he's quite the monster.
What's with the Band-Aid on the back?
Who put it there? I want to know.
Well, it's to signify that he's
People are
weak
stomping
there.
on him.
Yeah.
But I mean, it indicates that there's an existing injury on his back. Like somebody else went there and tried to kill him.
And if you really want to get weird about it, you think of like if Bowser made these worlds, was he also creating all these enemies? So did he in his magnificent creation create a flawed being such as the Big Thwomp?
No, he's a part of the regular city concrete. He's almost said as much in his little monologue.
He did.
Yeah.
You're right. And this is you're right. This is a question for Dan. This is the Daniest question here, and it's from Crash. He's a new supporter on Patreon, and when I saw his name, I giggled. His name is Crash Namco Bandai Coot. And so here it's and he says, I couldn't help but notice that there seems to be a dire level of classism within this game. Thwomp and Bob-omb refer to themselves in ill repute and have a certain amount of decorum. Thwomp says that he's just a stepping stone, while Bob-omb goes out of his way to fight like a gentleman, even inviting you back if you'd like to spar again. However, they speak about Bowser in such high regard that leads me to think that the big bads aren't actually bad, just misunderstood, and airing their frustrations on the red-hatted protagonist. Take it away, Dan.
Look, we didn't cover this in gifted class.
The classes of Super Mario.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I thought that was funny too, Ronnie. The Thwomp has that message where he's like, "It makes me so mad. We build your houses, your castles, we pave your roads, and still you walk all over us."
And he's like,
"You murder us!"
I will not grovel. I mean grovel.
It's very fun. Yeah,
I will say the naming conventions for Thwomps are consistently good throughout the series. So Thwomp, already excellent name for a thing that just thwomps down on you.
Yeah.
Thwomp being a version of it that just walks around and just lays down on you. Great. A tiny Thwomp being a thwimp. Perfect.
Oh.
Perfect.
They nailed it. Yeah, we should start a new show as well where it's just looking at Nintendo names and being like, oh, the best.
Mario enemies in particular are the best. Like anytime you like beat Mario World and it gives you that montage of like Torpedo Ted. It's like, wait, why is that hand that comes out of a thing and lets go of a bullet? They named him? Like his name is Ted?
Yeah. Based on a real person. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it before, but it always stands out to me. I remember the 8-4 Play podcast. Friend of the show, Mark McDonald, was on there. Still is. But is when Super Mario Brothers U came out. And everyone's talking about like, the art, I don't know, it's not as good as the old Mario games. And he's like, hey, we just have to take a minute to acknowledge the name Nabbit. He's like, that is scientifically perfect, and Nintendo has nailed it just on such a small thing. It happens all the time in the localization where it's like, yeah, it couldn't be named anything else. It's just the perfect name.
It's a rabbit that steals things.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You name that thing Nabbit.
It's beautiful. Let's see. Matt Sayer says, I'd forgotten how heavily Super Mario 64 leaned on bottomless pits. A good chunk of the levels exist in stasis above a death plane that punishes every tiny slip-up. I wonder whether this was a consequence of the hardware or a design decision.
It's funny because by the time like Galaxy comes around, it's like, well, it's in space, so I guess there's a black hole, and Mario just gets sucked into a black hole. Right. But on every level in this, it's just like, I guess he's in the sky now forever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess every pit in Mario in the old ones probably is bottomless as well in a very Star Wars way. We just don't get to see it. And now we get to see just, this is his world. Everything's bottomless everywhere.
Yeah, it's just that Meat Boy pit at the bottom where there's just a million corpses.
Crawling out, begging for forgiveness. Dead Space Trace says, I've had a lot of great emotional experiences with video game music, but I truly stop Mario dead in his tracks every time I have the chance to chill next to a sleeping piranha plant and listen to the piranha plant lullaby. You can have your Aerith theme and your Halo music. I'll be over here snoozing to this beautiful tune.
Which, if there is one thing they actually added to this 3D All-Stars collection, that music player is pretty nice. That is cool. It is fun just to see all the tracks, especially in Galaxy. It's like, oh my God, there's so much going on here. And again, this is one of those little small touches too, where it's like, they were under no obligation to make this game charming with the technical powerhouse that it is, but just that idea of transitioning to the different music and having to sneak around piranha plants. Like, yeah, this is incredibly fun. It's very sweet. Yeah. Also, hey, is this a reference? Do you think the piranha plants in Mario, do you think it's a reference to Little Shop of Horrors? No. A big plant that bites you? Is it just Venus flytrap?
Is there a Petey? Does the name Petey mean anything?
No, not in Little Shop.
Was that a Nicholson movie first? Was there a remake? Because I don't really know. I haven't seen any Little Shop of Horrors stuff.
Yeah, so Nicholson had a scene, Jack Nicholson, in the original Little Shop of Horrors, which was then adapted into a stage play and given this layer of comedy that the original didn't have, and it's a great musical. And then they made the Rick Moranis movie in the 80s based on the stage play. Same songwriters like Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid and stuff. It's great.
Okay. So Nicholson was in the original one.
Yes. So talking about Womp's Fortress.
Wait, hang on. There are plants that eat things. A Venus flytrap. Why would it just be a reference to the thing that actually does that thing?
But a huge version of it, I think there's a lot of similarities between the Little Shop of Horrors plant and the piranha plants in this one.
Is this a reference to real life? We ask.
I'm going with the Venus flytrap reference.
Anna, if you think about it, isn't everything in a game a reference to real life in some way? Yeah.
Okay, are we done here?
No, actually, Zach Galoo writes in talking about level design. He says, I think the best levels in this game rely more on puzzle solving and exploration rather than raw platforming skill.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
I agree with that. I mean, the platforming, I think 3D platforming is hard. And it's hard when you don't have you have Mario's jump, which is a short jump. You don't have Luigi. You don't have Yoshi. You don't have Flood.
Right.
You have to be kind of skilled, especially when you're doing those mushrooms, landing that later on. And So
Right. But I guess, I mean, in terms of like the puzzle solving stuff here, I mean, I guess kind of Boo's level is tricky, but so far there haven't been too many puzzle-based stars, right? I guess just trying to figure out where to go.
And I don't know how puzzly this game ever gets. It's a question we should come back to.
Yeah.
It doesn't go too far down that, but like you just look at variety and like look at the first area, the Babam battlefield. So the first thing is a boss fight, the King Babam up there.
Yeah.
The second thing is a race. And keep in mind, we're using the exact same real estate here for every single one of these things. So boss fight, a foot race. You got the shoot to the island in the sky, which is let's teach you how to use the cannons.
Yeah.
You got find 8 red coins, which is like a fetch quest. You got the wings to the sky one, which is we're going to teach you how to fly with this cap. And then like little ones like behind Chain Chomp's gate, where it's like, go stomp on this thing, learn how to use the butt stomp. And then there's the like 100 coin
pile up. Yeah.
That. So it's like that's 7 stars in the first area, and every one of them feels distinct.
Yeah, it's really wild. And that kind of gets back to that miniature kind of playground vibe, I think, for all these areas there, where they can just keep packing that stuff in. On Womp's Fortress here, before we leave this one, do you remember this, Dan? Andy McNamara, our old boss, he tweeted out an old press kit from, I think he said TGS, showing Super Mario 64. And it was awesome because it said, Super Mario 64, parentheses, working title. It's like,
I think there was a lot of that. I remember a lot of EGMs and Game Informers where it's like, it's the Ultra 64 and the Mario they're making for it.
Yeah, but I love that then they're just like, let's just call it Super Mario 64, of course. But that Womp's Fortress in that original thing, they had a screenshot and like the face on those little piston things that pump out from the side of the mountain. Those faces were different. And then also they called it Rocky Mountain. The level was called Rocky Mountain instead of Womp's Fortress. Fun little tidbit.
Also, is that one of the few places that you see bullet bills in this game? And it's not even like
so
prominent,
far,
you know?
Not really.
I'm trying to think later on if I'm forgetting something, but like because they're all over all the other games.
I'm glad we all had that collective weird moment. Dan, you're right. Mick Manga writes in and says, "Let's talk 100."
Hey, let's go back to these bullet bills here.
Take it away. What do you think? The floor is yours, Ronnie.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Right, that'll be a seamless edit. Mick Manga writes in and says, "Let's talk 100 coin stars. In the first third of the game levels, I had a blast." Okay, I'm going to read it. Play it as it lies here. All right, so Mick Manga says, "Let's talk 100 coin stars. In these first third of the game levels, I had a blast the 100 coin challenge in Womp's Fortress. There was plenty of coins, far more than you need. It was a lot of fun compared to Jolly Roger Bay, where if you goof up collecting enemy coins or fail to grab all the blue coins, you'll most likely have to restart the level, which I found more frustrating than fun."
I like them because I like the idea of like, okay, if you're exploring a level and then you don't know exactly how to get a star, or you kind of forget, and then you look up and it's like, well, I already have 45 coins just naturally. I guess this is going to be a 100 coin run. Like, I like being able to like turn on a dime, and also those stars don't kick you out of the level.
Oh, really?
So you can get that and still go after the thing that you want.
Why do the red coins kick you out?
They shouldn't.
That's because it's one of your missions. But I didn't remember that at all. That it didn't kick you out. But I like the 100 coin because it just seems like it's just like a good time to, like, I always did that at the very end of the level, and it was just like a tour of what you just did. Like there was no, you didn't have to rush it. You just kind of like went to every place that you went to before. I love that. And
they're good to do in conjunction with the red coins. Because you're getting 2 for each one of those. Yeah. So you make sure you get the 100 coin one first, which I had a moment the other night when I was playing, and I got the 100 and I got the 8 red coins. And in Babam Battlefield, they both spawn right in the same spot over where you can stomp down those things. And I was like, oh, wait, one of these stars is going to kick me out of the level. And chat saved me there. So.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, because I think the red coin's above the little blue thing, too.
Right. They hover above like a shadow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, does it have its own shadow, the 100 coin?
Yeah, that was the way the distinction. Like one of them has the blue shadow.
It doesn't have the shadow. Yeah.
Oh.
Nick Reed writes in and says, "Jolly Roger Bay's music is a warm blanket to my soul. It is so soothing and triggers overwhelming nostalgia. Did any other tracks have the effect on the cohorts?" Let's just rekindle here.
The castle theme.
Yeah, so that's one that does it for you.
Oh boy,
I remember.
I love that.
Dan, this is a replay joke, but let's recite a joke that Tim Turi made 9 years ago. But he was talking about like he would have this and he would fall asleep to Jolly Roger Bay when he was a kid. And I remember it made me laugh so hard in the replay where then we're just playing through and talking Mario 64. We went to Jolly Roger Bay in that replay and Tim was mid-sentence and then as you get to Jolly Roger was just like pretending to fall asleep immediately. It was like the perfect setup to that stupid joke.
It was really good.
Yeah. Okay, so castle theme for you, Anna?
Well, okay, I like Jolly Roger more. Let's get the facts straight here. But the castle theme is still like pulls me in.
Okay, so is it this one?
Just
Hang on. By that I mean the one that I'm playing, but it's not booting up.
the most basic one.
I'm trying to picture it in my head.
No.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah. I like that idea of just the nostalgia warm blanket. If I had to just bottle nostalgia, for me, for some reason, it's the file select music. Like this music just hits me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just pan flute. It's so fun. It's really whimsical.
I want to walk down the aisle to file select music from Super Mario 64. I'll be marrying.
Kyle.
What's that?
All right, Kyle. I think mine's
Hilliard.
probably Bomb Battlefield from the ones we played here.
Yeah.
Although I can't think of the ice one. I can't remember how that goes.
Hang on. Is there a difference between Bob-omb Battlefield and Fortress?
No, it's the same.
My
My God. I can't play those levels without hearing the Galaxy 2 version of it, which is so much better. Here's like the orchestrated version.
Ooh, that's got punch.
It's so
That's good.
Because there's also a moment, where they go like, huh! And there's a little like VO in there. God,
That's a little new Super Mario Brothers where like the Koopas like turn and
but
do
it's
a
not.
little
It's
dance.
just a one little just one little noise there.
What's the okay. So which music do they use in the Super Mario Odyssey 64 space? You know what I'm talking about?
I think that's probably the castle then, because it's the
Is
outside
it the
area.
castle? Yeah.
Right, for like the throwback level in Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Let's see.
Wait,
Odyssey,
what was the throwback? Oh, right, because you go to the actual castle grounds.
which is one of the
Yeah.
reasons that I thought that they were going to go for that full remake.
I know. Same. Yeah.
I forgot they did that in
right?
Odyssey. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Running around in Odyssey, that space was so fun.
Yeah. I want a full game like that.
I know.
So here's the
maybe one of these days. Hey, maybe for the 50th anniversary.
yeah. So here's the Odyssey version of it. Yeah, just more strings.
Yeah, you go.
That's so nice. That's so
In
nice.
Odyssey, could you go inside? You could go inside the castle, right?
Yeah, because there's you can get a bunch of stars that way. Like there's a toad
it's
there.
like a little home, and the toads give you stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harrison Cook, he says, hey, with zero nostalgia, I can't say I'm a fan of this game. Here's my gamer card. I've died an equal amount from user error and camera controls. But he points out that he's curious about the reused assets between this game and Ocarina of Time, which I think is a stretch to say, but he says the music accompanying sliding down the mountain is the same as the horse race on Lon Lon Ranch.
That's fun. I didn't know that.
Has anybody else noticed this?
Really?
It's
Is he
close.
sure?
Oh my God.
It's close. So here's.
Is it?
Hang on, Dan. How about I'll just play it?
How about you do the actual thing? I can make noises with my mouth if you
Do
prefer.
the thing. Do
Okay,
the thing.
So
Ben.
here's Mario 64.
Yeah. Classic. Stressful.
The best.
Classic.
The best. I want this to play
Yeah.
when I'm getting a divorce. Okay, and then here's the horse race from Legend of Zelda.
No, that's not the same thing. It's
Completely
similar.
different.
Yeah, ballpark.
It's close enough to where I would have believed it if you hadn't played them.
Yeah.
Also, apparently Epona was at
Whoa,
one point.
whoa. Hold the
You got it
phone.
right.
Yeah, we just.
Hold
She's
the
correct.
phone.
She's correct.
This is a split room between Epona and Epona. Dan, you've never had somebody agree with you on how to pronounce
It's
that.
Epona.
I didn't even know. At first, I was like, wait, what did I get right?
No, you got it right. It's Epona.
What do you think it is?
Epona.
Oh, it's not what we
Epona?
think it is.
That's what the horse told
It's
us.
Epona.
Is there any evidence that it's Epona, or is that just...
Yeah, I think there was a concert that they did where they sing. It's like Epona song,
Yeah,
and
and
they
they're just
did
like
vocals.
Epona.
Yeah, it's Epona.
pronounced Epona.
It's
Yeah,
Epona.
if you were
Anyways.
listening to the song, it was Epona.
I think my sister is probably the authority on this because every time I played this song, she'd go, Epona, 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 come here.
Yeah.
So I think Kayla has it right.
All right.
Hang on. So,
Anna, what were you saying about Epona?
Oh, that makes me uncomfortable. Apparently, a horse was supposed to be in Mario 64. Like they're gonna, like Epona was gonna have like a little cameo in Mario 64.
What?
Yeah, let me look this up.
Is this some
Really?
surreal fan fiction you've been
are
reading?
you sure you're not thinking of Yoshi?
No,
Nature's
There's
horse.
something really weird about seeing Mario characters on horses. Because like there's
Yeah.
that Tokyo Olympics thing where it's like seeing Waluigi on a horse is extremely odd to me.
okay, so ZeldaUniverse.net. Princess Zelda Epona was originally to be Mario's companion. So,
Wait.
There you
Oh,
go.
wait. Wait. So are we going back?
Okay.
Is this like a Giga Leak thing where like originally
Okay.
Yoshi was a horse?
Uh,
I don't think that's what we're getting at.
Oh, you don't think so, right?
was supposed to be
Battle.
Epona was supposed to be a part of the critically acclaimed Nintendo 64 launch title. The development team had planned to include a horse in the game, driven
Weird.
by Zelda and driven by Miyamoto's love for Western films and memories. Blah 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 blah. So because of just because Miyamoto liked Westerns, there was going to be in Epona.
But instead, they just
64
had to
at one
focus
point.
like, look, we'll make it up to you with a whole Western world and Mario Party 2. It's going to be unbelievable.
I was going there, Hanson.
Were you really?
I was. It was their damn cover art.
Straight to the hootenanny. Corbin 1K writes in and says, this is where it all started for me. Jolly Roger Bay really made me hate water levels. Playing Ocarina of Time after this really didn't help.
I think before this, Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider. Would that have been before this?
I think
On
so, yeah.
PlayStation?
Ooh. It
Oh,
might
it
have been
yeah, the
96.
first six?
Ocarina of Time's water controls, though, also horrible and around.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
that was awful.
unplayable. It's impossible to get past it. Everybody knows. So Tomb Raider was October 25th, 1996. So very, very close.
Oh, around the same time. I just remember hating the Tomb Raider water stuff. And then the Mario stuff, it's just, you don't have to do it a lot. And I love the fact that you can like surface and get all your health back at any time. And you can kind of like game the system with that. But it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
As far as water levels go, I feel like Mario is like some of the best actually. Like comparatively, like with Zelda and like I mean, talking.
I like
Tomb Raider.
2D
Tomb Raider just made me
water Mario more than 3D. I really struggled with this. And then I was like, okay, well, they gave us this beautiful song to just like take us down from the stress of the controls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then you're trying to like time this like eel star where it's like, okay, I'll try to get the camera so I can see this, and I think I can hit it, but then you wind up hitting the tail and it takes like a quarter of your health off.
Yep. And then it goes down another, and you're like, great.
And then you're drowning, and you have to surface and do the whole thing again.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Mario or water heals Mario in the castle area and other levels, right? But for some reason, if you're in it, you're not being healed, and you can just still die.
No, the water doesn't heal him. The air heals him.
The what?
It's when you surface, the air.
No, but I'm saying in other levels. I think if you go into water or like into the little.
If it's deep enough that you can submerge, and then you can come back up, and then you'll heal. I think is what it is.
Yeah, it's the act of surfacing. It's the air that heals him.
It's the air.
Air and currency
I see.
heals Mario.
Money and air, baby.
He's Italian.
He gets it.
Key to life. Key to life.
Sandshrew writes in about the water controls here, saying, on land, Mario can walk, run, jump, double jump, triple jump, punch combo, jump, kick, side jump, backflip, long jump, ground pound, etc., etc. In water, he can swim fast, swim slow, and grab, which I think sums it up pretty well. Yeah. Joe Mama 2112 writes in and says, I was playing around with Mario's moveset and noticed he does a little grabby motion when attacking underwater. I then remembered a childhood gaming mystery I had regarding the Koopa shell in Jolly Roger's Bay. I never knew you could grab that shell and swim with it. I was blown away. As a kid, I never knew what to do with that thing, and I hope I'm not the only one.
Attacking underwater? What do you mean?
Punching.
It's not like... Yeah. I don't know.
I've never done this.
Yeah, he does, like, if you press B, he does this little, like, grabbing thing. I never thought of it as, like, an attack, but...
Yeah, grab.
It feels like it only has one use the whole game.
It is.
When do you ever have to use it? Because this is news to me, I think.
I don't know. No, you're never required to use it.
You need it for the underwater Bowser boss battle coming.
Oh, okay, that's very important. Yeah.
It's coming.
I don't think I knew about that.
Huh. Sean Mills says, I've always hated the first mission on Jolly Roger Bay. The one we talked about, the eel is terrifying. You have to swim up close to make it leave. Then when you get in the ship, Mario gets electrocuted underwater several times trying to brute force open 3 chests in particular order, which somehow drains the ship. How does any of this make sense? Yeah, and then the ship goes up to the surface and it's like, great, I get to explore the ship. And there's just like a death crate shooting back and forth on the ship. It's just merciless. Yeah, when I was electrocuted by that stupid treasure chest underwater, I'm like, that's it. That's
the
it.
way I always,
it.
in my head, when I do it now, when I do the treasure chest thing, I always think triangle, circle, X, square. That's how I, in my head, remember, like, okay, so I tried triangle. Oh, it's triangle, circle. Okay, triangle, circle, square. No, triangle, circle, X. That's how I remember with the face buttons.
Smart. Mr. Hipshot also hates the eel. It destroyed his childhood, yada, yada, yada. Thank you for writing in. Dan writes in.
Yes.
He wrote in before the show asking, does anyone else think Mario's drowning animation is incredibly disturbing? He clutches at his throat while kicking his feet and his whole body just goes limp. I'm surprised this didn't give me nightmares as a kid. Another reason Mario's a horror game, everybody. It is twisted. And Wisconsinite wants to know, is Super Mario 64 the only Mario game to show X's over Mario's eyes when he dies?
Oh.
It is weird. I'll say yes.
Yeah.
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 No.
Definitive no from Ronnie. Henrik Mortensen writes in, ever since I was a kid, I've been afraid of the out-of-bounds areas in this game. There's something so creepy about the other side of the level, like over the mountain wall in Jolly Roger's Bay. Every time I shot Mario from the cannon and I hit the invisible wall over the border, I get the feeling that this time there won't be an invisible wall, and I will fly over to the unknown. People are freaking out about this game.
I feel like that's a Nintendo 64 thing, because like GoldenEye had that, where it's like, what is that little island over there? What's in that hut?
Right, yeah.
The outside the bounds thing, for some reason, because there was that like fog and everything, it was like mysterious on 64.
You know, that's an interesting aspect of play, though, in like the world, because in Super Mario Odyssey, you have those way out islands that you get to through those special paint portals,
right.
Reference to 64, and they just... all of a sudden you're in that spot and you're like looking at it from the outside, like you're on the outside of the diorama.
Yeah,
which was something I loved about Odyssey.
Anyway,
I love we're not talking about Odyssey today.
Cool. I'll talk about another game we're not talking about, Sunshine. As I'm playing through that, it does this really cool thing where it's like, since it's all in that same island theme versus like 64, which is like very disparate. Like you'll get to a high up place in a hub world in Sunshine and be like, oh, I can see all the other hub worlds. I can see Penn Park from here. Right. I can see the roller coasters. I can see all these things.
The continuity is incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
James Martin writes in, Cool Mountains penguin race. I finally beat the race after numerous times, was celebrating. The penguin gets down and starts running towards the door. I panic and think this means I have to beat him outside. So I quickly exit the cabin.
Oh no.
And of course you're supposed to wait for him to stop and deliver the star. And so I had to repeat the entire race.
Nice.
That sucks. Ben Fitter. Sorry, my bubbly water's coming out my mouth. Ben Fitter writes in, it's my own Jolly Roger Bay in my mouth here.
What?
Hang on.
No, say it again.
What was that, Ben? What was the joke?
Oh, hell. Linguini.
Stuck the landing.
Ben Fitter writes in and says, there's so much great level design in this game, it's sometimes easy to miss the more subtle examples. For example, for the first star in Cool Mountain, it may seem weird at first that you enter the cabin through the chimney rather than the door. However, requiring you to jump up to the chimney forces you to get a glimpse of the area above with the baby penguin, which is the objective for the next star. It's such a great way of showing you where you need to go, but still making you feel like you discovered it yourself.
That's good.
That's a very smart point, Ben.
That's good.
Eric Angel says the most baffling thing to me so far with this game is the sound the penguin makes while walking. It sounds like a car alarm. Why?
I'm trying to picture in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
can see it. I've seen Planet Earth. It checks out.
Yeah, I was thinking about this.
I've seen March of the Penguins.
It's unlistenable. Louder, Morgan Freeman, louder. But I was thinking about this. Like, there's something about the 90s and annoying sounds from kids. You know, like the baby penguin being annoying in Mario 64. That just fits that entire decade. It was just
Baby Mario in Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The baby T-Rex from Lost World makes that terrible sound.
Navi from Ocarina of Time.
Interesting. Yep. Anakin, if you want to go to 99, the most annoying kid. Every sound he makes is bad.
Peter Puppy from Earthworm Jim 2.
Yep.
Wait, Anakin like from Phantom of the Menace? Wait, what?
What?
Wait, I'm so sorry. Wait, what are you
And I'm
talking
here,
about?
the Phantom of the Menace is
sorry.
living in you.
He had the mask, he had the mask, yeah.
I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm only drinking coffee.
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Not quite perished, my
Let's
dear
just edit that
Qui-Gon. Anyways, Mark Ramirez writes in and says, it's confession time, y'all. Did you throw the baby penguin off the edge the first time you played, and how?
Yeah.
And did you do it now? Yeah, you got to do that.
Not this time on purpose. Back then, yes. I did it accidentally several times.
Is there a way to
Yeah, I
chuck
did it
the
about
ping-
6 or 7 times. Just
just getting closer to the TV with each toss? Is there a way to throw the
do it
penguin?
again.
Or do you just have to like drop it?
I think it's a drop, and also
You can't.
like,
Yeah.
I tried several times this time around to like carry him down. Like, okay, I never do the slide with the penguin. I always jump off the side to bring him down. But then I always screw it up, and it's just the funniest like failure animation when it's like, oops, okay, I dropped the penguin over here, and Mario went off the edge head first, and then his little stupid legs are sticking out of the snow. Love that.
It's perfect. Hey, this is a reference. The star is called Little Penguin Lost. That's a Twilight Zone reference to Little Girl Lost, I would imagine.
No, it's not.
I would think it is.
I'm with Ronnie.
Okay. Joseph Stanicher writes in and says, stars such as Cool Mountains wall kicks will work. Demonstrate how much the controls are still frustrating. Did anyone else have trouble with the star on this one, or am I just a Mario chump?
You just got to time that triple jump.
Yeah, so he's a chump, is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
You should go back to school.
Get his gamer
Joseph.
card.
Give us your gamer card, Mr. Stanichar. Zachary Ink writes in and says, I'm very thankful for the hints for each star, otherwise I'd be lost without them. However, there are some puzzles I just can't figure out, like how to stop the giant snowball at the snowman head in Cool Mountain.
Oh my
Well, you
God.
don't have to stop it.
Is that right?
Gotta lead it.
Yeah, you just got to lead it. It'll stop itself.
Okay.
Cool.
Take your time, lead it.
Yeah, just relax, man. Barrett Boswell says, playing for the first time, I see how people have such fond memories of it. The closest thing of an open world platformer to this game I remember playing then on PlayStation is the wonderful gem Gex. I'm thoroughly enjoying this game so far. Rough controls, camera at all. With that being said, screw the Cool Mountain level. Do we all not
Which
like this
level?
one? It's
Which
a little,
one?
Well, just the level itself. I guess just the environment and
the
how slippery it is and everything. It's probably my least favorite.
It's annoying that there are like 2 ways to get down, and then I don't know. I don't like doing the slide. There's like weird things where what's the thing you have to do to if you're doing the slide and you jump over the wall to the right? Like there's something required over there, right?
Yeah. Wait. I tried
Well,
going in.
that's
I
where
can't
like the blue
remember.
coins are.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're doing the 100 coin thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's just not clear, and it's just awkward getting over there. And then you have to do the warp thing to go back up. Like the red coins are annoying on that level.
Well, the red coin, what is
Yes,
with that
the red
area
coin.
where it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
on the little floating island and there's like the broken bridge? And I keep trying to jump from the top of the broken bridge onto that. Is there another way to get to that island down there? I'll take my answer off the air.
Is there a portal?
I don't know. I've tried doing a long jump over and over again because like I don't think I can like balance on the little rope or anything, right?
Yeah, no, you can. And I think I know what you're talking about. And yes, you can, like, you have to long jump it, but it's a really tough long jump. Like, you have to be right at the very edge
God, it's brutal.
to get there.
And the most annoying part of the entire level is that bridge with the 2 hopping snowmen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate
Yes.
that.
Where
They are
if you get it at
efficient.
the wrong time, you got to wait for him to do the turn, but then
Yeah.
he's going away from you, so you got to wait for the other
Yeah,
turn.
right again.
Oh, it's brutal. Tim Laro was playing the DS version, and he said that it was really cool that in this version for Cool Mountain, you need Yoshi to spit fire to get all the red coins. So yeah, I forgot that they were that bold with that overhaul there. Okay, the Big Bowser level. Sutton says the painting transitioning from Peach to Bowser is such a nice touch, and I remember spending what feels like hours as a kid trying to get past the invisible wall to get to it, hoping there's another secret world back there.
Yeah.
That is cool. I love that moment. God, Bowser's such a dick, isn't he? The idea that he puts
yeah.
Peach in, there's like, if he's designing this area, then he's like, then it slowly transitions. You won't believe it. Edern writes in and says, I fell in love with the Bowser level. The moving blocks and the toughest part reminds me of what I love in 3D World. No exploration, but just a series of small and sometimes optional challenges that are always fun. It does kind of feel like a 3D Land or 3D World level, doesn't it? I think that's an interesting comparison.
Yeah, I can see that.
MacDeck says in the first Bowser fight, he refers to Mario as friend. Were they ever friends? Perhaps they got close during Mario Kart? Did they have a bad falling out after a race?
I think that's just a figure of speech. He's just you know.
Right, plenty of bad guys.
Like
he
They've had a lot of history together.
He did design all these levels just for Mario.
That's true.
And they're all tailored to his jump and his abilities.
That's a good
Could
point.
be a Joker Batman situation, I think.
No, Mario can't get past that. No.
Make it fair. I said make it fair. And then he gets a cap in this one. He can fly around and he'll have fun. MacDac. Oh yeah. I did notice like the writing for Bowser was weird. Like after you defeat him, Bowser just says, "Grr, I was a bit careless. This is not as I had planned." And it's like, what? That's like not very Bowser at all. Just being like, "Wow, it was my fault here." Like, what is that?
I'm sorry about it.
Oh,
but that music is a real highlight.
It's so good. Except now it's it's baked into my soul because for
Wait,
extra
how's
life.
it go again?
Guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the stomping,
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Okay, here's the theme.
Yeah.
Wait. I like the level music too. And that one's just always associated now with Extra Life, because every time we had somebody donate $1,000 to charity for us to eat a ghost pepper, we would play that music from Bowser's level here. So it's just like, it scares me every time I hear it.
Good choice.
Yeah. Tim Holt says, the fight with Bowser, I was surprised that they broke the rule of 3 hits, by which almost every video game boss abides. You only have to hit him once with a little spiky on the edge there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they removed So Long Gay Bowser.
Yeah.
They're changing.
So is it So Long? Okay. Let's talk about this. So Long King Bowser. Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, I believe so. But the fact that for this version, they went back to somehow edit it. So now he just says like, goodbye. Like, it's such a weird specific thing. Like somewhere with Nintendo had to be like, people think that Bowser's gay because of this thing. Like, imagine having that conversation.
There's a grammatical mistake at some point, and they didn't change that.
Really?
It was like the wrong form of it's maybe, but they didn't change that.
Interesting.
I never heard it as that as a kid. I always took it as like he would add little things to like let's go, and it's like, well, there's not an A at the end of let's, and so it's it's So Long Gay Bowser. Like I saw it as like a hyphen
that's
AY.
The Italian coming
right.
out.
It's a hyphen AY.
When I was little, I always thought it was just the, like So Long the Bowser.
Bowser. The Bowser. It is weird though. I don't understand Mario canon because So Long Gay Bowser, but then in Mario Galaxy it's You Are Mr. Gay. So they need to. I don't understand the sexuality.
And that's still canon,
so which is
right?
it?
I believe it's still canon. That's right. The canon.
You're
with
canonically Mr. Gay.
It's a canon with a question mark on it.
Yes.
Andrew Burns writes in and says, so far Super Mario 64 is nowhere near one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time. Collecting all the red coins on the first Bowser stage only to fall on the way to the star due to a crappy camera isn't fun. It just sucks. Well,
he's not wrong.
He ain't wrong.
It just goes back to that muscle memory thing, because it's like, when you're running up that section where there's the weird electrical things going around the crystals, it's like, well, if you've played it a billion times, like, okay, rotate the camera so you're at Mario's back and you can see the stuff better. But like if you're going through it for the first time, I could totally see how a lot of that stuff would be not obvious and annoying. Right.
I sent out a poll on Twitter asking people that follow us on Twitter just what they thought about the game and how well it's held up and stuff. 25.8% say that it's worse than they remembered. 7% say that it's better than they remembered. And then 66.5% said Mario 64 is Mario 64, which
that's how I would have voted.
That's probably the correct option there. Jerome writes in and says there are 38 possible stars in this section. How did everybody do? Are you going for the full star run or what are you doing here?
I think I got 30. I don't know. I got 32, I want to say.
Okay. I'm at 23.
Wrong. It has to be a multiple of 3. I might be at 27 each of 64, Sunshine and Galaxy.
Right. Anna, you going for the full Monty here?
No. I like to do like just over half or around half of each field, But I still remember a lot of them, so like I'll skip over and look for the ones that I just like for Jolly Rogers Bay. I forgot how to do the eel one, so I just went to like the chest one first. And I was like, okay, cool. Then I'll figure out the eel one after.
Yeah.
Which 64 allows you to do that more than I think Sunshine and Galaxy, because it's really cool in 64 how it's like, okay, I picked this one, but I'll go do the chain chomp thing because all you have to do is butt stop 3 times, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas a Galaxy specifically is like, I picked this star, and it almost feels like the world is kind of configured in this way where it's like, well, you need to go to that B and get the 5 things on the B, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Jacob Mitzel write in saying, I've never noticed that Mario has a second low poly model they use when he's far away from the camera until his playthrough on the Switch. It's first noticeable on the King Bob-omb fight if you move to the far end of the platform, but I've seen it a couple times since then. Have you all noticed this?
Notice that.
It's really funny. It was in the Boo level when I really started to notice it, and then like I made a GIF. I'll tweet it out, but like seeing a lower poly version of Mario 64 Mario is just like this janky mess. It's like this pointy weird hat. Disaster.
It's the same thing with the Toads in Sunshine. I think it's like they're really worried when Mario is far away, but as Mario gets closer, they like smile and stuff. But you couldn't tell when it was like on CRT TVs back in 2002.
Right. Tim Matanon says, I think Mario 64 has aged much better than Ocarina of Time. It could be because it feels more new to me or that Breath of the Wild is such a great game, but I feel like I will come back to Mario 64 again before I do Ocarina of Time. What do y'all think about that?
I just played through Ocarina again like a month or two ago. I'd say they're in the same conversation. But again, it's like I feel like I've played both of those games like every year or two.
Yeah, but don't be a coward, though. Which has aged better, do you think?
Maybe Mario 64. But I haven't gotten to a lot of the more demanding platforming parts in it yet, so maybe I'll change my tune.
Yeah, Rainbow Ride.
Like TikTok
after that.
Yeah, Dan,
64 is so flexible though too. Like you can revisit it, play the levels you like, you know, and so I wonder if that also allows it to age better.
Yeah, I mean, what is the most frustrating part of Ocarina to go back to? Is it Water Temple?
Well, I did the 3DS version of Water Temple, and like that's the better version, but it's still pretty annoying. And actually, I remember there were several parts I got pretty annoyed with recently playing through it again, where it's not so much the controls, but it's just areas that aren't necessarily fun. Like there's that like ice cavern between a couple of the dungeons when you're adult Link, and Mario 64 is just so easy to hop into whatever world you want to play. Yeah. And it's just so fun all the time controlling Mario. Whereas like with Ocarina, there are parts of that game, whether it's the Water Temple or whatever, where it's like, I don't want to do Jabu Jabu's Belly or the Water Temple or this thing. Right. Oh, I got to go all the way across here and do this thing. Whereas Mario, it's just any world you want to go to is just like within a minute or two.
Yeah. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking about this now, like, and how, you know, playing this has got me thinking about how, like, Nintendo had such a solid foundation for 3D Mario games, and how even at Odyssey now, like, I feel like Odyssey made a lot of, like, meaningful changes to the formula. Like, you still really have, like, the spirit of Mario 64 in it. Yeah. And I'm sort of wondering, like, is Mario Odyssey more similar to Mario 64 than, like, Breath of the Wild to Ocarina of Time? Because I feel like... Definitely, right?
Yeah, because I feel like, Odyssey was, you know, a throwback specifically to Mario 64's structure in some ways, just having more areas to explore, you know, just really soak in these environments here.
Whereas Ocarina, or Breath of the Wild plays so differently than Ocarina. Yeah. Whereas, like, Odyssey is like a comforting, like, yes, this is the Mario I know. Whereas Breath of the Wild is like, everything's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ronnie, Ocarina is still one of your favorite games. Where is Mario 64 rank? Is it somewhere in that arena?
You know, here's the thing. It's like, I haven't played Mario 64 for so long because I never played the 3DS version. And so like, I think the last time that I played Mario 64 was probably on a 64. So this is really, really, really fun for me. And I'm having a blast. I'm so glad. Like, I feel like it's held up so well. And so, I'm just like super excited to keep on going. But Ocarina of Time, I feel like is, I don't know, top, maybe second favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's no Final Fantasy VII, as everybody knows, but it's just so close. It's just so close. Other thoughts on Mario 64 we haven't talked about here for the first section here?
Well, I just pulled up my top 100 list of all time, and so officially, Mario 64 is the 28th best game of all time.
Ooh, that seems low.
Ocarina is the 8th.
Wow.
Hey, all right.
That seems low for Mario 64 for you.
It does, but there's some really good ones above it.
Okay, what's 27?
27 is Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening.
All right, now you're a lunatic.
That does seem weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, fix your list, you idiot.
Okay, I'll do another 9-hour stream where I figure this out.
Please do. Yes, any other thoughts about Super Mario 64 for this section? Did we hit it all?
We hit it all.
I think we hit it all. Thank you to everybody that wrote in, that submitted a comment at patreon.com/MinnMax2ends for the next discussion. Airing next week, we are covering everything up through the second Bowser fight. Is that the easiest way to frame this thing?
Yeah, I'd say we're just like, everything on, we're going to talk about the basement floor.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, up through the next Bowser fight. So just that is the stopping point. Dan, you seem terrified.
Well, just because it means I have to do 3 times as much. I have to find time to stream Sunshine and Galaxy
That
much.
was my first thought when you said you were doing it like that. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure 8 stars is like the least, like this is the shortest chunk, right?
Right.
Well, it was like these 2 disparate ideas where it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to join Hanson on this thing, and then I'm going to do this for my stream. But then I realized, like, oh, wait, I can't do those separately. So it's like, I guess I got to play a ton of Sunshine and Galaxy, too.
Oh, boy. And if people want to watch you play, where do they go, Dan?
They can go to twitch.tv/Dan or just danreichert.com as a list, links to all my stuff.
And what's the secret code so that somebody in the chat that that they've learned about your stream from this video or podcast?
Oh, is this an Overblood reference? What are you doing here?
No, I don't know. Just give them a secret code so that you know that we sent them there.
Big poop.
God damn it. And everybody knows that's a reference to Ocarina or something. So again, if you want to submit a comment on the next chunk, we encourage it. If you support us at any tier on Patreon, you submit a comment, or you can unlock the podcast versions of this discussion moving forward. All of our interviews, Anna's show Refresh, the podcast version of that, our Max Spoilers show, all of our previous deepest dives like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Last of Us Part 2, Chrono Trigger, Outer Worlds, Edith Finch, Halo 1, all that stuff we could use as support, so we appreciate it. And hey, that's it. Thanks again to everybody that wrote in. What a fun time. And thanks to everybody that watched us live at the Backstage Pass tier. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. And until next time, Ronnie, take us out.
Bye, everybody!
Bye! Do you want to get your name or Twitch or YouTube channel in the description of everything we release? Record a podcast with us, put a picture of your choice on MinnMax's TV, or a whole lot more? You can check out the benefits for supporting us on Patreon. If you support MinnMax at any tier on Patreon, you can submit questions or comments for us to read on the air, and you'll also get access to the wonderful MinnMax Discord. We need your help to keep this whole indie trainer rolling, so we'd appreciate it if you checked us out.